Hi, welcome to Meetings on the Mat. My name is Nicole, host, creator. Before all else, I would like to extend my gratitude for you not only being here to expand your knowledge, but to expand your overall optimal wealth. So essentially, Meetings on the Mat is to come together with holistic health practitioners within our communities that I like to refer to as healers. And they're essentially sharing their story and their journey with us on how they healed themselves, which in turn created a space for them to heal the community. So as we take this journey together, I am extremely excited. I am thrilled for each and every individual we're going to cross paths with along this journey. I'm ready to learn, as are you. Love and abundance all. Welcome to Meetings on the Mat. My name's Nicole, host, founder, we'll go with that. Founder and creator, why not? As well as your guide today as I sit with two practitioners from the Quantum Health Collective. Nikki Murphy, registered nurse, holistic healer. Salvatore Swain, New Jersey's first life advancement sanctuary, founder, of New Jersey's first life advancement sanctuary. Welcome. How are we? Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
I really, really appreciate sharing space with you in this moment. Me, myself, as well as the audience, would like to know what brought you to the mat. And when I ask you that, I'm asking you to share a bit of your life journey that led you to holistic health specifically. So I'd love for you to go one at a time.
Yeah, sure. You want to go first?
Yeah, I could say first what brought me to the mat, I would say, is a strong lineage of women who were healers. But, what brought me back to the mat, I guess you can say, was, some very low states of emotion. Feelings of self-worth in high school, feeling like I don't want to be even in my body. Until I had mentors, people who were in my school, to re-inspire the idea of living again through mindfulness and teaching me basic techniques of breathing and mindfulness. And I remember when I was 15 years old, waking up at 7 a.m. for some reason doing this thing called meditation and crying some mornings before I go to school, thanking everything in the universe for the reason why I've been able to get this technique, because I was really struggling in high school. So that's what brought me back to the mat, was, some really low situations. And I struggled, but I had mentors there to bring me back and give me the foundation of mindfulness.
I love that. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Nikki.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I was actually sharing this with Salvatore before. What brought me to the literal mat, like the yoga mat, that's where my journey started. So I'm a registered nurse, and that's really all I knew in terms of health and healing, was that Western medicine, like conventional allopathic ideology. That's all I had exposure to. And then I started getting sick myself, and it was right after I found yoga. So yoga came at a really important time for me, where I was helping. I was actually the caregiver to my aunt, who has since passed, but that was a really life-opening experience for me. It was traumatizing and all of that. While it was very painful, it really led me to my own sickness in a way, my own manifestation of symptoms finally, because of how stressful it was, that I found yoga through that, and I learned how to really get back into my body. And then things started coming to a head more and more with my own health. And while traditional medicine, Western medicine doctors couldn't necessarily help me, I was kind of forced to take my own way, to find my own way. And that's when I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease in 2018, and that really led me to find the answers that I needed to heal, because I knew that suppressing my symptoms was not the answer, and that's really the only answer I was being given. So I found a practitioner actually on Instagram. I found him on Instagram, and I started working with him virtually, and then pretty much right after I actually worked with him in person, I knew that I wanted to be doing what he was doing to help people heal. So we both recognized that pretty quickly, and I started mentoring with him and working with him. And then Quantum Health Institute actually came about. a couple months later, and Salvatore and I have been pretty much the first round of students. It's like been beta testing for a year, and like my practitioner and my mentor, he's training other bioenergetic medicine practitioners, which is what we call ourselves, which is what we're going to get into more.
Wow, that's amazing. So it sounds like you're doing it, well, bioengineer, yeah,
Bioenergetic medicine.
thank you. Bioenergetic medicine, it sounds like you had experience with it firsthand and then
Yeah.
you wanted to bring it out towards people. So my question for the both of you is, what do you do currently within the community to elevate it? Before we even get into further into what you do, what are you bringing to the community and or offering to elevate it?
Right. So I feel like we're very much walking this path of healing, and we're looking to walk that path with our community. So we're looking to really, we're working on our own health, our own mental, emotional, energetic, systemic, physical, spiritual health, so that we can consciously walk our clients in our community through that path, and we can elevate together while also remaining grounded in the physical. Like, we can't really just expect to be doing all of this spiritual ascension work without taking care of our meat suit, our vessel, the vessel that we work in and move through. So we really look to help the community optimize their physical health and systemic health so that we can ground and integrate, right?
Yes. If I can just add on to
Yeah,
that,
please.
I would say that the reason why life advancement is such an important element and ingredient into really treating the polysystemic layers of health in our community is like, health is not just what you put in your body. Mm-hmm. It's about your community. It takes a village to raise a child. What food you eating, where's your water coming from, where are your remedies, what's your medicine. So being that there are a lot of life issues out there, I was set forth on the path to really launch a life advancement center that provides holistic solutions for life, not just this is what I specifically do, because life doesn't work that way. Life is very specific, yes, but there are not many institutions or churches or sanctuaries giving a holistic view to it. And what that spin looks like for me is just like the Jews do it in New Jersey, and or actually all over the United States, where inside of their churches or their schools, they're teaching those young children about commerce. So what I show people how to do is I show them how to correct their commercial status in the system. It's very complex, and it takes more than just one conversation to understand. But I help the Black and Latino community specifically wipe away the fog from their eyes and see the bigger picture, because there's no one out here providing this level of solutions. And the foundation of that is also through EAV testing, which we don't no longer have to guess about what's happening right there in that moment with the physiology or energy. We can test with the machine, and if we want to get people better, then all they need to do is make it a practice of prayer and purification and dedicated to protocols. And this is why also one of the second things that I do is I help people recover their life, not only from traumatic experiences, but from addiction. So life recovery is a huge part of the Life Advancement Sanctuary with the foundation of EAV.
I love that. Thank you, both of you, for going into that. I actually would love to dive into what EAV is. You mentioned it a couple times. So can you make aware myself as well as the audience what that is?
Of course. So we can start with bioenergetic medicine, because the term came up before. It's like a tongue twister. It's a bunch of fancy words to just describe what we do, in the sense that we work with the biology as well as the energetics of the body. So we are primarily microbial cells. Like we are microbiology. And
more fungus.
We're more microbiology. We have more microbiology cells than we actually do human cells. Wow. So when we look at that, we really want to know what the status of our microbiology is. What do we have? Candida overgrowths? Do we have yeast overgrowths? Do we have parasitic overgrowth. All of these things are very common because of the environment that we live in. We just have microbial overgrowth. So that's something that we see a lot of, but we're looking at the biology and the microbiology through the energetics. So this tool, this is an EAV tool, it's a bioscan. So it's a biofeedback technology that tells us about the biology through assessment of the energy. So we're measuring the electrical resistance along the meridian channels. Through the acupuncture points in the hands. So if anybody's familiar with acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine, we're just measuring the flow of energy along that meridian channel, and each meridian channel leads to a certain organ or tissue system. So that tells us a little bit about the function of that organ. Whereas when we get blood work done, we go to the doctor and we get a prescription for blood work, what that blood work is telling us, the serum, is, it tells us when there's damage done to an organ or tissue system, but it doesn't necessarily tell us the function. So you won't see that there's an issue with the liver until there's damage done to the liver. We can see through the flow, through the energetics of the body, what the function of the overall, system is, and a little bit about what the cells are doing. We can see toxic residues that are stuck in the system, microbial overgrowth, digestive enzyme deficiencies. So this is also something that we bring to the community, with our consultations and just with the work we're doing. We use this to help humans just optimize their health and really get out of a chronic state of disease as well.
Okay, so help me understand this. This is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be very, very wrong, just fair warning. My understanding from what you just explained is you hook someone's hand, or you could, say you take my hand, you hook my hand up to the machine, and my body is naturally sending energy to the machine, or the energy is shooting. Okay.
With me, so we'll take it out when you wanted to do some type of demonstration as well. So we will demonstrate this, just kind of what it looks like real quick. But you have a copper hand mass that you hold for conductivity. It's all a conductivity. So I have a stylus, and it's electrodermal screening, so it's picking up through the skin. It's picking up through the skin the acupuncture point. So it's assessing the meridian channel through the acupuncture point. So I just press on that area, and it'll pick up the reading.
Okay, so our meridian system, does it, you said, I want to reference what you said about the lung, that we wouldn't know the lung is damaged or there's a problem with the lung until it's damaged. Right. Does this machine help you see that at all before it gets damaged through the meridian?
The meridian line, so I can see whether the meridian line is balanced, stressed, or weakened. So if it's stressed, it could be acute inflammation. If it's weakened, it could be more of a chronic weakening state of that organ or meridian line. But our energy fluctuates so much. We can have, our energy just changes so much that this assessment changes so much as well. So as we continue going through the layers, the testing changes. So you can have, a lung issue on one assessment, and then that could be cleared by the next time we peel back that layer. Does that make sense? So we're just kind of, we're really focusing, we're not so much focusing on what the problem is in the body, but just what does your body need at that moment, and how can we give that to you? That's more of what the ideology is. It's just bringing balance.
I love that. So when you speak to that, finding out what your body needs within that moment, now are you taking a Eastern medicine approach to that, or are you, or how can I verbalize it actually? Are you encouraging individuals to go get medication, or are you taking a holistic approach to it?
Our recommendations are based on holistic approaches, always. We're not doctors. We don't have the capacity to do that, the authorization to be prescribing medications in any way. So what we use is natural remedies, a lot of lifestyle changes, that deeper inner work, really encouraging that. But we always start in the physical because that's where most people are at. We relate to the physical world. So right now we're looking to clean up microbiology, help people understand how to eat better, how to move their body appropriately, how to quiet when they need quiet and stillness and things like that. So we're really just looking to help people make those little lifestyle changes that are necessary to make those bigger health changes and have them last.
So what would you say, because then I want to hop over to him with the
Yeah.
same question, within the collective that you're in the schooling and training you're going through, how does that tie directly into your purpose or what you want to put out in the world and what you are currently doing and plan on doing with all facets of your life?
Okay, yeah. So I'm really just looking to, I feel like my life is dedicated to healing. And I'm so aware that I have so much healing to do, like a lifetime's worth of healing to do. And I really want to be there for the people who are also ready to do that work, because it is work. It's like it's really constantly showing up for yourself and just being really honest with yourself, and knowing what's not serving you and being ready to let that go. So we kind of get stuck when we become too attached to the things in our life that might be keeping us sick. So I'm really looking to, and what I've been manifesting that I'm so super grateful for, is people who are ready to let go of the things that aren't serving them anymore and really learn how to take care of and be in this physical body and really help people get out of the chronic state of fight or flight and stress that has us out of our body for so much of our days. And we're just like losing time. And the more disconnected we become, the more sick we become as a society. So I really just want to continue connecting with my body and helping others do the same, and just helping, clean ourselves up, just like really optimize things.
Salvatore, I want to ask you the same question, but also give you space to speak about maybe your studies, or if you want to touch on any of your studies and what you learned through the collective. I know Nikki shared some of her understanding of all that she's learned. Would you like to share anything?
Yeah, I would like to say the first thing is that, I'm prior to even mentioning the Quantum Health Collective, I'm going to say that first, what I realized about a year, 2 years ago, is that finances, when people talk about health and well-being, mind, body, soul, I add finances in there. Because believe it or not, in the Black and Latino community, and not only in colored communities, like in everyone's household, there's some kind of financial struggle or strain. So when I knew about this, obviously I can feel the effects of not growing up in a well suitable environment for my growth. So knowing that that's a big problem in our Black and Latino community specifically, I made sure I went out into the world and got the information that I needed to financially make myself prepared for the world. That's when I went ahead and launched an LLC that I have called Holistic Business Solutions, which will be the subsidiary of the church that I have to handle the commerce or commercial stuff. I know it's complex for especially spiritual minded individuals, but it's what
things that people need, though.
people need.
It's amazing that you're plugging it into, especially the holistic community. It's needed. It's important.
We need, as humans inside of the Black and Latino community, we need to go back and correct our commercial status. So in relation to mind, body, and soul, the finances, a solution for that is Holistic Business Solutions, a company that I run that also goes by the Credit Shaman. And what I do is I do credit repair, I do business consultations, and it's basically setting yourself up to build the foundations of wealth by understanding your credit. And more than just that, the commercial system. But to segue that into the Quantum Health Collective, the reason why I feel like this relationship is so dynamic is because as practitioners, or holistic health practitioners, we're required to know more than just the solutions of, oh, this remedy does this, or this remedy does that for this. It's so much more complex than that when you're a practitioner. I was just telling Nikki, it's about when to use what. And if someone is having a root chakra issue and they need help in their financial stability, then as a practitioner, at least in speaking from my heart, I'm going to be like, well, I have a solution for that. Do you want to confront it? And can we walk through this solution together? And I could guide you as best as I can, but you need to show up for yourself. And with this is why I love the EAV, because the EAV I can show you, boop, I can metrically quantify it for you, like, hey,
like
look.
we can quantify stress. Like we can
That's
quantify
right.
when people are emotionally or psychologically stressed with this. Like there are just things that, and it always makes sense. Whenever we test people, it always makes sense. They're like, yeah, that's me. But it's just like that validation and that ability to also use this as a tool to build an effective and individualized
Yes.
protocol for the client, and then continue doing that every 6 to 7 weeks, as long as it takes us to go through the protocol. It helps really like pull back those layers without needing to guess. Like when we guess, it takes more time. And the more layers we touch on within a human's experience, the more we work on, the quicker we're going to progress forward. So for someone like him who has the business aspect as well under his belt, like I can't really talk to my clients about like finances and business. I'm very much still like learning that myself, but the more that we can share in a holistic approach, like we can add finances, because that is totally root chakra. That is going to, our finances do contribute to our overall stress levels, and stress is the driver of disease. It's the driver of everything, like, and we are just such a stressed out society, and our what is it called, generation is we have a lot of entrepreneurs in our generation, and we've all been conditioned as children in a chaotic environment, so we are all in fight or flight. That's why like I had to be like, go ground, like go outside and ground. And the only reason I can tell you that is because someone told me that. You know what I mean? Like my mentor taught me the importance of grounding, like Jason Prasad, like he taught me that. Kennedy Lodato, like that was one of the first things that like before QHI even opened up was like, they were like, we found this information on grounding, go learn it, go absorb it. And I honestly didn't even really take it seriously until I needed it, until I got so sick that I was like, what else am I going to do? Go put my feet in the dirt and like my GI bleed is healing. You know what I mean? So it's like these things are so important and so powerful. Like I've healed so many things that doctors told me I wouldn't be able to heal without immunosuppressants, that I just want to share this and like give credit to like the people who have taught me, and like the people who are doing it with me, and you know what I mean? Like all of us, like we're building this community, and it's really impactful.
I love that so much.
I would just like to say that generally when I tell people about my experience of, when they ask me, what's my passion, what drives you behind discovering the answers to health and longevity, or health, wealth, and longevity, I would say that when I was a kid, I seen my father doing one of two things in the middle of the night. One of them was cleaning the entire house, spotless. Everything is in cue and in sync, right? 3 o'clock in the morning, my father's doing it. The second thing that I would find my father doing is sitting in the bathroom, biting towels, trying to stop himself from shooting a heroin needle up his veins. So when I become aware, and when I became aware as a child of the level of healing that needed to take place, I had my father tell me that I've had cousins who were jumping out of windows because they were mentally ill. My mother is afraid of spirituality because her mother suffered from Alzheimer's and dementia and was smacking me across the face when I was a baby. So my mother is afraid of spirituality because of the sickness and disease of addiction, and which is why I'm so fueled and passionate to really dedicate my entire life to recovery of health, wealth, and longevity. And I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's powerful too, because when you were sharing about addiction before, like it came to me that Jason said this to me, that addiction is just something that takes us away from our optimal self. Like we all have addictions. Like that was the most powerful thing because my mentor, I first started working with him as like a life coach as well. So we did, like he was my intro into really like personal development, like aware of personal development, And so writing down all your addictions really puts into perspective your attachments. And an attachment is anything that takes us away from our optimal self. And we're about human optimization. So in a sense, we help not just like labeled addicts with addiction. We all struggle with addiction and attachment in some way, shape, or form.
Wow, I love that so much. And I want to tie that into asking you the same question I asked Nikki. How does all of these things you have your hand in tie into your purpose to give to the world? Like the purpose of yourself fueling out into the world.
What the Life Advancement Center gives to the world is EAV testing as the #1 foundation, not only for health optimization, but for recovery and detox. The second thing is life recovery. Life recovery is a big thing. There's a lot of elders struggling with addiction and need life recovery and detox. So what I can do and what I am doing is designing individualized protocols via EAV and other plant medicine and life advancement changes so that that person can detox, whether it be from opioids, alcohol, nicotine, etc. The third thing is kind of goes in line with EAV testing is evolutionary herbalism. Evolutionary herbalism, as many people may know it as alchemy. In the context of a practitioner, evolutionary herbalism is basically me being able to take your natal chart and just like the EAV, kind of look underneath a microscope of your overall constitution in the cosmos to see what herbs will be best suitable for your natal chart specifically. And that's essentially the essence of alchemy, really. And being a practitioner and an herbalist is knowing when to use what. Now, we don't have to guess like we used to and only read natal charts. We can test and be practical and use EAV. So that's the third thing that comes out of the church. The fourth thing is commerce consulting. I say it like that because my mentors, I've literally had consultations with some of my mentors where I talk to them about all of my life issues, all of my life affairs, meaning debt, whether it be credit, whether it be finances, whether it be getting legal paperwork to protect myself from vaccinations, or other conversations around circulating plant medicine and the legal protection of it. The Life Advancement Church of New Jersey provides that legal protection of ritual use of plant medicine. This is why it's the first of its kind. Through a 508c1a, we are able to provide the sovereign protection under the religious assembly of the Constitution. We can use ritual plant medicines. And that's one of the most unique things about it. Now, how this kind of all ties together is I have one goal. Like Sir Isaac Newton said, I have one goal here, and that is, of course, can be explained in so many different ways. But what really drives me is just total optimization of health and human consciousness. Mm-hmm. And whether it be through plants or yoga, meditation, I'm all about it. So that's a lot about where I want to go and where I want to take this is I want to dive into the inner city communities. And I used to work for a nonprofit called KYDS Kids, as you know, and I want to bring the EAV back to those kids and see, I'm also, I'm a certified Montessori teacher assistant, bring the EAV into those spaces.
Everywhere. Bring it everywhere.
So, yes.
We're just getting started, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We really are. It's so new.
This is new.
You guys shared a lot about what you're doing and what you plan on bringing into the communities. I really appreciate that. I want to know, is there any way, shape, or form to do a demonstration and or show us a little bit about this machine?
I can. I just have to plug it in and add a couple bells and whistles onto it, and then I can do that. So I just want to give a brief overview of what EAV testing is and what we use it for in our practice. So we use it as a tool to look at the function of the organs. We look for food sensitivities, certain toxic residues that get stuck in the system, microbial overgrowths, some mineral and digestive deficiencies as well. Did I miss anything? Okay, so what we do is we use the acupuncture points in the hands and the feet to assess basically the energy flowing through the meridian channel that leads up to each organ and tissue system. So with that, we get a picture of the function of the organs. So I'm going to just do, give a brief demonstration of what it looks like, what we look for in the beginning before we even get into the organ test. So first, I look to see we're going to check what Sal's conductivity is. So he's going to hold this hand mass in this hand. And our conductivity can tell us a lot. It's our electrical charge, basically. And what it can tell us is if we're severely dehydrated, we could have a low conductivity. If we have a really high conductivity, it could indicate psychological or emotional stress. So this is usually validated by the client's experience as well. So it's a really cool way to just gain some more insight into that. Okay, so right now Sal's borderline. He's like biologic disturbance right now. So Sal's a little stressed. We're on set right now. We're doing something new and big. So Sal's a little stressed right now. So I would use that in my protocol to guide him. I would use that to guide his protocol. So now we're going to take this away. And now we're going to test. We'll test to see if you were in left spin. So left spin is a term that we use to describe whether or not the cells are actually open to absorbing water and nutrients, or if they're closed. So if our cells are closed, they can't absorb water or nutrients as effectively, and they also can't detoxify as effectively. So we want the cells to be absorbing. So now we're going to check for that. So I'm going to spray your right hand. Give me your ring finger. Oh, I don't have my water dish. I want it to be real. I'm like, I'm missing things. Okay, so Sal's cells are absorbing water right now. They're able to absorb water, nutrients, and detoxify effectively. So those are some of the pre-checks that we check before we get into the organ test. So we can, go further in depth, and each consultation we go a little bit more in depth as we start to peel back the layers. So it's a layered approach. It's a process. Yeah. Is there anything that you want to share about your experience with EAV?
I love it. It's brilliant for me that, it's a tool that I could use to quantify what I need right now in this moment.
Yeah.
So it takes away the guessing for me as not only a practitioner, but someone who is familiar with protocols and detox in many different ways. The EAV just gives me a good foundation of what my body needs right now.
Yeah, so
Most
as Sal's a colleague of mine and a fellow student of QHI, but he's also been one of my clients for a couple of months. Yes. So we've been working through his layers. We've also been working through my layers. So, we work intimately with this device in our own lives as well as with our clients.